Last time we talked to Derrell, things were looking pretty good, but right now the packing industry is seeing a lot of challenges. What's going on there, Derrell?
Well, there's a long-term story here in terms of packing capacity that goes back about 20, really 40 years, I suppose. Most of the packing capacity in this country was built in the 70s and 80s when we had about 15 million more head of cattle. And so for many years, as cattle numbers declined, we had excess capacity, and over time we did reduce packing capacity. So plants went out of business, and we got to a point then in recent years where we've been much closer in balance between the supply and demand, if you will, for packing capacity, and that's become a little bit more of a challenge in recent years.
Now, on top of the physical infrastructure problems in the packing industry, there's also a labor shortage.
Yeah, labor has been a continuing problem in the packing industry. So yeah, relative to the physical structures that we have, it's been hard for packers in recent years to maintain a consistent, reliable labor supply. Certainly that's been aggravated in the last year and a half because of the pandemic and the continuing broader labor issues in the country. So we've had a real challenge in 2021 with really not having enough packing capacity relative to the supply of cattle that we've had.
So what problems are packers seeing in 2021 specifically?
Well, what we've had this year is just simply we haven't had enough capacity to slaughter cattle that needed to be processed on a timely basis. And the problem is really the supply side. We've had more cattle that needed, feedlot inventories have been higher relative to that capacity. So when you look at Monday through Friday slaughter in 2021 has been about 91,450 head, and that's 2.7% less than 2019. Not going to compare to 2020 because of the disruptions last year. So, the Monday through Friday slaughter is a little bit less. And what we see, again, to those labor challenges is the fact that Monday is the lowest average day by a little bit. And not only that, Monday is much more variable. So, packers have a constant challenge of just how many workers are going to be there every day, how fast can they run those chain speeds and maintain that capacity. The only real thing that packers have control of is Saturday slaughter. That's their sort of optional day, their discretionary day. They normally use Saturday slaughters at certain times of the year to handle peak loads, if you will, seasonally. But this year we've relied on Saturday slaughter to a much greater extent all year so far. So in the first 28 weeks of 2021, Saturday slaughter has been 31% higher than it was in either 2019 or 2020. Labor obviously doesn't want to do that all year round. And not only that, if you don't take Saturdays off, you have no time to do any maintenance in the plants, or you have less time anyway. And so eventually you're going to have some more additional problems because of that.
And will these problems persist into the future?
Well, on a short-term basis, we're working our way out of that problem simply because feedlot inventories are declining seasonally. And not only that, but we have actually worked through the peak cyclical numbers in the first half of this year. And so going forward, I don't expect the capacity issues to be as much of a challenge, even when we rebuild feedlot inventory seasonally in the fall of the year. They shouldn't rebuild to the levels we had this last year, and so I don't think we'll have a problem. Now, longer term, the industry may be looking at some point to expansion. Certainly, I believe there's growth opportunities, down the road for the beef industry, and these capacity issues will certainly come back to the forefront if, in fact, we try to expand the industry at some point in the future.
All right, thank you very much, Derrell. Derrell Peel, Livestock Marketing Specialist here at Oklahoma State University.